Let's see how many takes this is gonna take me. My job. I talk about my job a lot. Like, a lot, a lot. You hear me say it all the time in my updates. And if you're my friends, or someone I talk to often, you hear me talk about my job even more. That is because my IRL job, and not this silly little slideshow, takes up a lot of my time. Especially now that it's the summer months. Rent a B&B, not a hotel. I work at a hotel. I'm a housekeeper, recently promoted to co-head of house, meaning I keep the head of the house, meaning I'm in charge, co-in charge. Because of the co-head of the house, for talking purposes, HOH means head of house. But before I talk about the craziness of this new position and all of the drama I get to hear about, before I talk about any of the new craziness of this position, let me tell you about my first day. I remember it the same way someone remembers the label of a can of a Chef Boyardee ravioli. You don't know the label, but you know the meat's fake, it's high in sodium, the sauce is too sweet, and it's not healthy. That's how I remember my first day. Shoddy with an overall view. I was being trained by a girl named Cassandra. This ain't a real name. Also, Cassandra's long, so let's shorten it to Case. Now, Case is a bundle of self-deprecating comments and overthinking anxiety. My first day with her, she was always saying, push me out of the way, or I'm sorry if I'm being too picky, or do as I say, not as I do, I'm stupid, or that kind of stuff. Basically, she's always a Debbie Downer and not so slay to be around. Like, girl, go see a therapist, and not some 20-year-old kid who is just trying to clean the toilet. Then my next day, I was working with this girl, let's call her Joe Mama. Now, Joe Mama was really cool at first. She was the one who helped me feel more assured in this job and really helped me grasp what I was supposed to do. Case, for obvious reasons, made me feel like I wasn't going to be very good at it. Indirectly, of course. Her self-deprecation was so vast it started to rub off even on me. But in my first month of working there, I've come to hate 3 rooms. Yes, I have a list of hate specifically for certain rooms I've had to clean, and this list has grown since writing this script. I am reading a piece of paper because of how much has happened. It's not a piece of paper, it's a Word doc, but you know what I mean. You get the gist. But I have a list of rooms I hate specifically for a certain reason. Like, I've had to clean them, and yes, you will learn about each and every single room on my list. Stay till the end of the video. Now, starting off, in room 226, when we entered, this was my second day of working. When we entered, you were greeted by a foul smell. Something that my broken nose akin to bad barbecue and feet. You turn to your right to look into the bathroom that held a toilet in front of you, a sink to your right, and a shower to your left. You find a pile of towels under the sink, and a pile of towels covered in brown smears. That day, I learned to appreciate the long length of my arms and rubber gloves. Now, one could argue that this was chocolate, but I'd argue back with the simple fact that our hotel's location is less than 5 miles from several hospitals. And that we also found an empty pill bottle and bloody gauze in the trash. This room was nasty. There was Twizzler bites thrown on the floor, chips smashed into the carpet. It smelled awful. And I was wearing my mask that day. It was the worst. And that was my second day working there. Ever since, I've never had a pleasing experience in room 226. Every time I get it, which isn't often, thankfully, it is the worst. In the same month, I'd learned to hate rooms 213 and 214. Second floor and me don't get along, but that is because it's shit. Anyways, this one is a long one, and to start this story, I have to go back a few months before I even saw the ad for this job. And it involves Joe Mama. Joe Mama was the co-HOH at this time that I was working. Before she worked where I worked, she worked at another hotel, one that didn't pay their employees on time, mainly because they hired just about anyone. Joe Mama worked with this one lady, let's call her Leaf. Leaf, Joe Mama said, would hide in hotel rooms, smoke weed, shoot stuff up her veins, and be hopped up. Basically get doped up while on the job. Joe Mama obviously had to fire Leaf for this behavior and report it. Leaf then got charged, went to rehab, but also got her child taken away from her. CPS, all that jazz. Fast forward, I'm given the task, I'm working by myself now, I'm given the task to clean 2 stayover rooms, 213 and 214. Now, patrons of the hotel can make special requests. They are going to request no housekeeping, limited housekeeping, so only towels and trash or other specific items, or a full service, which is just shy of cleaning the whole room. The people in 213 and 214 requested only towels. Well, we didn't have any towels at the time. It was like the Irish potato famine of towels. It doesn't sound so serious by the name, but when you look into it, oh, the horrors. Obviously not as severe or as traumatizing as the potato famine, but you get the gist. So I spent a hot minute scrounging up towels, and since I was fairly new, I didn't have a lot of confidence in this job. I came up once with some towels, I think 3, and when I knocked on the door, there was a man who I knew was naked because he did not hide his body very well. I could see his whole bare hip and thigh just out, which his tan line went crazy, dog. Bro went from golden crispy fried seasoned chicken to milk. It was a wild glimpse, but I maintained eye contact the best I could. After the towels, in which a fully dressed lady appeared. Huh? Why was she dressed but not him? I don't know. Not my circus, not my monkeys. I didn't question it too much. She took the towels and then asked for some more for the people across the hall. Her sister, she said. I said I'd get to it as soon as possible. Well, I never did. Because as I'm going back upstairs to give them more towels, I'm notified in the group chat that we have that they are checking out several days early, which is very odd because they were getting very comfortable in this room. I didn't know when it was, but I think I had to go back to their rooms to take out their trash, and I physically had to be the one to do it. So when I told her, the lady from room 214, when I told her, hey, I do have to come inside to collect your trash, she would not let me into the main bedroom. She was using her body as a barrier, a shield, a blockade to block like the whole entryway, which is a pretty big entryway, into the bedroom. She would not let me see past her. Even before I came in, she told me she had to hide something. So when I go in, there's a brown liquid stain on the bathroom floor. It smells foul in there, like shame and sin. The trash can was a mess. I'm so happy I still had gloves on. But she grabbed the trash from the main room for me, like she was hiding something. But I take her trash and room 213's trash. They weren't in there, thankfully, but I go back downstairs to restock my cart and I see the same man from before. I know it's him because you can't forget the face of a man who answered the door to a hotel, obviously naked. I had to share the elevator with him for a silent minute. It took so long for the doors to open, I literally thought we were stuck. They check out, right? I go up and I start to clean the room. A little pissed that my day at work has become longer, but it became so much more interesting. I clean room 213. I start to anyways, and then Joe Mama comes to join me. Room 213, looking back now, wasn't too bad. There was coffee cups provided by the hotels everywhere. Some were taped together with like a popsicle stick. I don't know. There was a half-eaten Big Mac, a figure left behind, like a little, I wouldn't say a Funko Pop, but something of the sort was left behind. Like obviously a kid was in the room. Her sister was watching a kid, probably her kid. But then Joe Mama, as she's starting to clean the other room, calls for me. She says, "Oh my God, there's blood all over the bed." I go, "Huh?" And she says, "This whole towel is red." She holds up outside of 214's doorway this red towel. Like 90% of the surface area is red. And it was spooky, to say the least, to see that much blood. I come look into this room with her, and as I'm looking over the counter by the blood bed, I see a white rock. Like a very tiny white rock. It looked like a little speck of kosher salt to me. I made a poor joke because it's how I cope, and I said, "Wow, guess they were seasoning the wound." Joe Mama looks at what I'm looking at and she says, "No, dude, that's ice." And my poor, naive, innocent self said, "Then wouldn't it have melted?" She laughed. So, points for me. She went on by saying, "No, dude, that's Coke." And then it clicked. Rooms 214 were housing a mother and her boyfriend slash slave, and they were doping up on drugs for the past couple of days. Her sister was babysitting the son in the other room. Joe Mama then tells me later that was Leaf and her sister Fall, air quotes. They were hiding her kid from CPS custody, using the sister, Fall. We call the police, leave the room immediately, but I still have a job to do, so after throwing everything back into the room and pretending we never touched anything, shout out to latex gloves, I continued cleaning room 213. The next day, I was off. I didn't have to touch room 214. Woohoo! But we did find out that it was fentanyl from the cops. Got a whole horror story about it too. Fun fact, did you know that a little shard the size of Abraham's nose on the copper penny can kill you? Don't do drugs. But that was just my first month. Next month, Joe Mama gets fired. Turns out she was lying a whole bunch about our main HOH boss, let's call her Fog. Joe Mama was lying about Fog to everyone, including me, and I was completely blindsided too because Joe Mama seemed like a really sweet person. Very friendly, very kind, she had kids and a shitty husband, someone you can feel for. I don't know all the details of the story, but Jemima getting fired led to the let go of one other person as well, and almost somebody else. Thankfully, Case, Jemima's cousin, wasn't let go. I do like Case. Their self doubt can be a little much at times. Like, girl, I'm not judging you for singing. Didn't even notice until you said something. You're forced to fold linen all day for several hours. Do whatever you gotta do to not go insane. But after Joe Mama left, I got to actually chill with Fog by giving her rhymes home, and she's really cool. Her voice, like mine, can come out harsher than intended if you don't expose yourself to it enough, but she's funny, laughs a lot, and is a hard worker. Fog's cool, and Joe Mama was being a stupid cuttlefish. So obviously, with so many people being let go slash fired, we had to hire on new people. Insert Shih Tzu and a never-ending list of people for me to train. Because with Joe Mama gone, me and this other girl, let's call her Leash, were left to carry the responsibility. She got promoted to co-HOH because I denied the first time and I became the trainer. I was the first person to be paired with any new employee to show them the ropes and have them get a feel. Also the only guy, but that gets ignored because I'm a girl's guy. Actually, I'm trans, but it helps with dysphoria if I lie to myself and I say that I'm a girl's guy. A guy for the girlies. Anyways, I'm training a few new girls, and they all stay for the most part. Leash is getting real good at being co-HOHing, and our new girl, Shih Tzu, is now down in the laundry helping Case. Now, Shih Tzu is named aptly because she was this little old Hispanic lady who tried to act tough and friendly, but was very emotional. She would become insanely hurt anytime we tried to show her how to fold something properly. She tried to walk out on several occasions because of a misunderstanding with Fog, and to defend Shih Tzu, because it is important, there was a language barrier as she understood a fair amount of English, she just had a hard time speaking it. Well, she also had a hard time taking criticism. A bad combo of personality traits to come across is a very overly emotional, stubborn, and afraid of confrontation person. In the right mix. Example. Case is overly emotional, stubborn at times, and doesn't like to fight. However, if you say something that upsets her or she thinks she might have upset you, after a moment of building up her courage, she'll talk to you about it. She clears the air. Not Shih Tzu. Shih Tzu would just let it bottle up until she eventually stormed out one day and never came back. And here's why. Shih Tzu was in laundry. She has a routine. Sweep and mop the floors and then get to work. Well, a trainee that I wasn't training, I trained her for a few days earlier, went into the laundry room and grabbed some inserts, bed comforters for everyone else who doesn't speak hotel. We've had a shelf that when you walk in had these comforters on the top shelf. As she was grabbing some, Shih Tzu stopped her and told her to grab some from the back. Now, it's not a big problem to walk to the closet and grab one, but if you're in a rush and need to grab one quick because it could be a stayover or whatever, you grab from this shelf. Case, when the trainee left, I'm not giving her a name because she left the next day, Case told Shih Tzu, hey, they can grab comforters from up there. Shih Tzu just smiled and shook her head no. Like, Case, someone who has been working at this hotel for a while, didn't know what she was talking about. So, aptly, Case gave a small expression of disbelief and dropped the topic. Everyone knows Shih Tzu is sensitive, and everyone tried to not start anything. Well, that day, Shih Tzu was extra sensitive, and what? Okay, and hello? I'm trying to tell a story. As I was saying, she was extra sensitive that day, and she walked out. We never saw her again. She said Case scoffed, rolled her eyes, and just simply over-exaggerated the whole thing. That same week, as I was training another girl, let's call her Red because she was a ginger and she was working with me, and we had, I think, like 25 rooms. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is. It's a full day for 2 people, and a full day for one person is like 12 to 14 rooms. So you double it and give it to 25 wasn't the worst. Now, Red was talking up a storm. She was trauma dumping about her abusive grandparents and her upbringing. She told me about how she didn't really have a religion and that she was spiritual. I got to go on a small little rant about my awesome religion, Satanism, which has really helped me with my moral compass and code. But the thing she was saying was like your classic toxic TikTok witch, like, I just know when things are gonna work out for me, or I have a sixth sense because that's like tuned in with the universe, or I can sense people's auras, and yours is like green and black. Girl, you said black because that's what I'm wearing, and green you pulled out of thin air. Shut up. In hindsight, these were red flags because she came to me halfway through my list and was like, "Oh my gosh, I bled through my pants. This is so embarrassing." She came to me crying and was like super embarrassed, and I felt so bad for her, so I helped calm her down quickly. Word got around the hotel, and Fogg even said she would bring her a change of pants. I told her to take her time to go clean up. She said she was also going to grab her phone charger from her car. She never came back. There was like 13, 14 rooms left on my list when she ran for the hills and she dipped. Thankfully, my helpful crew of loyal bad bitches helped me with the rooms and stuff, and that day was over quickly. My boss, let's call her boss lady, my boss asks me what happened after work, as well as Fogg, and I told them what I knew. That I was left high and dry, and it sucked! Now, for a good period of time there were no issues. Girls would come in, I'd train them, they wouldn't last a week, they'd leave. Being a housekeeper is hard work. You don't know when you'll leave because you have to get your rooms cleaned before you can leave. You're on your feet all day. You have to bend over, crouch down, reach into cracks, grab stuff. You have to deal with the smells of chemicals and then people's natural nasty odor and all of these nightmarish rooms. Which brings me to rooms 135 and 36. These were my last two rooms of the day because they took forever to leave. Listen, y'all, checkout time is 11 o'clock, but housekeepers love customers who leave an hour early, because then all of our rooms open up, laundry goes and gathers linen, and we have a stripped room ready to clean. It just makes it easier for everyone. But no. They didn't leave till like 1:30 in the afternoon, which meant I didn't leave until 2 hours later, because that's how long it took me to clean these two rooms. It was a birthday party for a little girl. She was turning 14. And you want to know how I know? Because they had those big helium-filled balloons floating in the top of our tall hotel ceilings. Thankfully, the string was long enough for like me to pull it down and the balloons and get rid of their lighter-than-air source. And to soothe myself of the frustration, I did suck on the helium and make some noises. I laughed. It instantly cheered me up. But y'all, they had two trash bags in there. One full of trash and the other completely untouched. There was still trash all over the room! There were streamers, paper chains on the bed, glitter all over the floor, self-inflated balloons on the floor, and like empty cases of cake. That one room took me an hour to clean because 30 minutes was just cleaning the trash, stripping the room of the linen, and then dealing with all of the glitter the vacuum wouldn't pick up. In room 135, the room across from it, it wasn't as bad. It was the adults' room. There was alcohol, some cake icing on the wall, a lot of towels, but it was a lot easier to clean than the other room. But I've got beef with those rooms now. Another room I've got an issue with is room 123. Now, it's smart to preface this with that I don't work first floor often, and I don't like it either because that's where the lobby is. There's a lot of foot traffic. People just stop like they're in the middle of the hallway like they're middle schoolers again, and take up the whole hallway. I have a cart. I have a job. Stop talking about the baseball game your 12-year-old son lost last year and let me through. But I'm cleaning first floor, right? Things are going smooth, besides colliding to 4 different strangers in the span of an hour. And then I open the group chat. Oh no. A wonderful, hardworking coworker of mine, let's call her Angel. Angel sent pictures of room 123 and it was wrecked. I stopped what I'm doing immediately to go scope out this room because it is on my list. I walk in and the smell of urine and feces hits my face. The bathroom had a wad of towels covered in poop. There was poop smeared on the base of the bathtub. The toilet was clogged. There were stains in the sink. The covered comforter, duvets, a fancy piece of cloth that covers the comforter were ruined. There was a whole pillow soaked in vomit, urine, and crap. The pull-out bed had crumbs of food in it. There was candy, chips, sauces, all squished into the carpet. We threw away so many things that day. I went through so many gloves. We just recently got Odor Ban, which is godsend antibacterial mist that gets rid of odors and leaves behind this baby powder scent. You spray it, wait 15-20 minutes, spray your favorite scent, and it's like the horrors and sins never existed. Now, I should have known this room would have been hell because earlier that day I saw the door was cracked open, and usually when the doors are cracked open, that means the laundry ladies have come by and stripped the room and it's ready to clean. So I confidently strolled in with my cleaning supplies in hand, and what do I see? 2 grown children sitting inside a playpen, and I am not talking like 3 or 4-year-olds. I'm talking like 4 to 5, maybe a 6 and 7-year-old who were naked with diapers in this baby playpen. They were both staring up at me with big brown eyes and curly hair, and it scared me so bad I shouted a sorry and went back into the hall where I stood at my cart for a minute to regather myself. This was that same room. I vacuumed, I sprayed, I soaked, I cleaned. I went home and I soaked myself. This room was atrocious. I had to use the odor ban several times. We eventually had to get the ionizer. By the way, an ionizer is like a machine that basically sucks out the oxygen particles in a small room. It causes all of the odor to basically sink down onto a surface, and then they just reclean that. But that machine is a last resort in that room because it cannot be entered for the next 24 hours, as breathing without oxygen can be kind of hard. Who knew? But this room was hell. But it's in service now, and I promise it's clean. I soaked the shit out of that bathtub, literally. Also, side note, a new prank I've noticed some people do is they'll check out but like leave their bathtub full of water. It's not really hard to get rid of, you just open the stopper, but the smell of still water that's filled with lead can be pretty gross. Plus, it prevents us from cleaning that one thing until the very end, which can be very annoying. Now, I know this sounds like an awful job to have, but I've only been working here for a few months, and compared to other jobs, it's really not that bad. I will never forgive Sandwich Place. My bosses are respectful and around when I need them. The pay is a lot better, and the work isn't hard. It's the interruptions and rare dirty rooms. I think out of all the jobs I've had, this is on the better end because at the end of the day, it makes for a very interesting conversation topic. And now that I work at a hotel, I'll never see one the same again. And now, neither will you. So be kind to your hotel rooms the next time you have to stay in one, as they do not magically clean themselves. Your housekeeper are not maids, they're the ones who are responsible for restocking your toilet paper, coffee, and shower items. If you are rude, you will not have a clean room. If you are kind and leave a tip, by the way, you are supposed to tip your housekeepers, and I didn't know that either until this job, I promise we will treat your room kindly. Also, we don't steal, we judge. We see your dirty laundry and nasty trash bags and we judge you. We gossip about you in the group chats and we tell all sorts of secrets. But yeah, good job, mid pay, fun horror stories. 6 out of 10. In the video.